Close all the curtains. Stay on the phone. We are the monsters holding you still. We are the gallows up on the hill.
Guten Tag. Welcome to New York City. So for today's video, we figured we would talk about what tattoos we have. But first thing I want to talk about in this video is the noise pollution in New York City. Not only just all of the construction and big buses right here with their big old diesel engines, but the thing that always gets me is the honking, but from the back of the line. Yes. Like, there's like 7-8 people in line, and the person in the very back lays on their horn. And I just want to go up to them and say, when has this ever worked? When have you ever gone up to the back of a line of a whole bunch of people in gridlock traffic, honked your horn, and then everybody's like, oh, yeah, I am stopped. Maybe we should go now. Actually, the other day we were walking, and we were walking across the street, and this person honked, seemed like at us. So I looked up, and I saw that we had the right-of-way to cross the street. They had a red light, and so I was just like, I looked at him, I was like, what are you honking at? And he rolled down his window, and he said, I'm just honking at New York. It's like, well, we don't need your honks. Nobody wants them. And then he goes, have a Happy New Year.
He did.
Speaking of honking, let me show you something back in the apartment. That is like a month ago in a vlog, we talked about how we were taking our window AC unit out and how we actually use that as a sound machine at night for when we're sleeping, because one, New York is just loud in general, but then two, there's a beer garden on our street, so sometimes it can get really loud with just people screaming and being drunk, especially on the weekends, but sometimes even during the week, people can be unruly. And so to combat that, I've been wearing earplugs to sleep, but that has been making my ears sore having earplugs in that many hours a day. Our friend Michelle Nace, she told us about this product called the Dome, and it is a white noise sound machine. And so I reached out to the company and they sent me a review unit, and we've been using it for the last few nights. So we got this Dome, and it's just a little sound machine, and basically instead of having the air conditioner noise, we just have this, which makes basically the same type of noise. But what's awesome about this is you can actually control the style, so the volume of it, but then also the kind of tone of the noise, so you can kind of dial it in to be exactly what is most soothing to you. And then there's a high and a low setting. So Marpac, the company who makes the Dome, did not pay us anything to say anything about the Dome. They did, however, send us a free one, but really I actually wanted this and I was going to purchase it, but I figured might as well try to get one for free. So did that, love it. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But let's talk about what tattoos we have and why specifically did we get these specific tattoos. So the first tattoo is my Apple tattoo, and I talked extensively about this in another vlog, but I'll retouch on why I got it. One, yes, it is an Apple tattoo for Apple Computer. That's their logo. I got it whenever I was 20 years old, I believe, and it was my very first tattoo, and I was literally obsessed with everything Apple at that time. Literally. Not one conversation that I had did not end up talking about Apple in some way, either metaphorically or literally or, you know, whatever it was.
You, like, scoured eBay for all of the vintage Apple products. Like,
I listened to Apple News podcast every single morning. Like,
it was wild.
Everything. I was really obsessed. But the main thing was that, and still is, that Steve Jobs is my inspiration and kind of design hero. The person he was as a designer and a entrepreneur is very much in line with who I've naturally been my whole life.
Right, simplicity, excellence. Yeah.
Just driving things to be simple and excellent and pushing for things to be the best they can possibly be, but in the most beautiful, simplistic package that you could possibly get it in. And, you know, that applies to a, you know, iPhone, but it also applies to literally everything. I mean, like our apartment, I try to make it look as simple and clean as possible, and yet it's more functional than most apartments that you will see. And it's just being intentional in those things, and then also with graphic design as well. It's like, how much meaning can you pack into a simplistic, easy to understand thing? So that's why I have the Apple tattoo. One, because I was young and dumb when I got it. Two, because Steve Jobs is my hero. And that's it.
Yeah.
Talk about your first one.
The one on my foot.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this one.
The first tattoo I got, I was 18 years old, and me and well, she's my sister-in-law now. Her and I always wanted this tattoo, and it was a tattoo of a star. And I can't even really say why I wanted it. I literally don't know. We were seniors in high school, and we decided that we were gonna get this tattoo together because both of us just wanted it individually, and they were like, oh my gosh, it can be our friend tattoo. So we had a friend who was learning, so she brought her tattoo kit to my mom's house and gave us star tattoos on our feet in my mom's living room, and that was it. And it was, it's not a great tattoo.
Not a good tattoo.
It's like very uneven. The lines are really bad. It's just that it's my favorite story of all the tattoos I have because I was so stupid. I can't believe I did it. But there's like a nostalgia to it and like a good memory that I refuse to fix it.
So my second tattoo is also a logo, but you wouldn't really like recognize it as a tattoo right when you see it unless you were deeply familiar with that product. But it is my feather tattoo that I have on my forearm, and this feather was actually the like logo or the branding for Photoshop whenever it was in like the Photoshop CS1, CS2 era, and that was the version era that I really learned how to use Photoshop on. And as a designer and being deeply creative and in Photoshop every day, I mean, it was like that is and was my life, and so I really wanted like a designer tattoo, and so that's why I got the feather on my forearm, and this one is definitely my favorite tattoo.
Let's see, the second tattoo I got, I think I was 20 when I got this. It's just on my wrist. It says love never gives up. This is probably the only one that I would say if I could do it over, I would. I didn't give it enough thought. I still love the words.
She thinks that love will give up.
No, I still love the words of it. I would have done it in a different font. That's what it is. It just, well, it's a scripture from the Bible, but it, to me, just means like love doesn't give up. Not romantic love, but just love, like the human love doesn't give up. And it reminds me that it doesn't give up on me and that I don't give up on love for other people. And that's pretty much it. But it's the only one that if I could do it over, I would think about it longer because I wish it was in a different font.
So the next tattoo I got was a friendship tattoo and then also a spiritual tattoo. And technically it's also a logo. It's a logo for Christianity because it's a cross under here. My best friend Nick, he found this Bible somewhere and it had the cross tattoo that I have on the cover, and he sent it to me just because he really liked the design of it, and I just like fell in love with the way it looked. And also it's a like Greek or Russian Orthodox cross, and it has a few more meanings to it. So obviously the Christian cross is just the two lines, and the Orthodox cross has two more lines. And so you have the crossbeam, but also at the top it has a line, and that is for where they had the placard above Jesus's head that said King of the Jews. And then at the bottom it has the footstool, but the footstool is actually slanting to one side because it is pointing to Saint Dismas, who was the thief that confessed to Jesus on the cross, and that Jesus said that today you'll join me in paradise. And so it kind of has these few extra elements to it that I really like. But then my friends Nick, Josh, and Brooke, we decided to all get this tattoo together as kind of a friendship tattoo that also has individual significance as well. And so we ended up all getting the same tattoo.
The third tattoo I got is on my forearm, and it says, I feel written. This one, okay, it's a long story, but I'll just tell you the end of the story. I read this book by Donald Miller. It's called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. And in that book, he is talking about the elements of story and like what makes a good story. And pretty much in Hollywood and books and stuff, there's like 7 story arcs, and pretty much every movie or every book follows one of the 7. And he just decided to kind of explore that and why those 7 things make a good story, and then applied that to our lives as humans and how we are called to live a good story as well. And so there's a part in the book where he's talking about how he feels written, and how kind of, you know, God is writing out his story, and how we're all characters in this bigger story than like our own lives, and how we all have a part to play on this earth. And that's, I don't know, I read that when I was like 20 or 21 and just became obsessed with it. And I just think it's a really great way of looking at life and looking at your life and realizing that you're part of something bigger than yourself, and whatever that means to you, you know, and just living a good story.
Which out of that, a little plug for Sarah is if you go over to sarahjensen.co, she actually has an entire blog post about that tattoo and why she got it. That's a little more in-depth. So that'll be linked in the description as well. So my final tattoo is also a logo per se, but it's also another friendship tattoo that I got with Sarah, my best friend, and then my other best friend Nick. We all got these lightning bolts on our wrist for Harry Potter, because we are all big Harry Potter nerds, love the books, love the movies, play the games. We all have our Harry Potter tattoos that when we wave our wands you can see them. We're such nerds.
And then the final tattoo I have on my collarbone, I got it the same time that I got my Harry Potter tattoo, and it just says PAX. We traveled to Europe in 2016 and we went to Assisi, Italy, which is where St. Francis is from.
It's also where Assisi's Pizza is from.
That's not true. and in the garden, PAX was spelled out with like the shrubbery or whatever, and it just means peace, but more literally it means the kiss of peace. And that day in particular was such a peaceful day. We were just like walking around this small Italian town with our friends and like visiting St. Francis's Basilica, who was pretty influential in all of our faith lives the last couple of years. And it was raining and it was drizzly and it was soft and quiet and perfect. And I wanted to do something to remember like that feeling. So I got PAX tattooed right here.
So those are all of our tattoos. I think tattoos really kind of represent who people are, because if you don't truly like love something, you're probably not going to tattoo it on you. So I figured this would be another good way for you guys to kind of get to know us and through our tattoos. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel. We try to get out and about and explore New York City and show what's out there in this bitter cold. Probably gonna be doing a little bit more inside stuff for the next few vlogs, but we'll try to get outside. If you enjoy reading and books, head over to Sarah's channel. She makes videos about all of that every Tuesday and most Thursdays. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.